Okay, we're on slide number 6. Okay, so we have these non-competitive interactions. And so we have things called mimicry. And so in mimicry, what happens is oftentimes we'll talk about I'm going to talk about mimicry first, and then we'll talk about the non-competitive things. Okay, so right now we're talking about how do you avoid predation. So I got ahead of myself. Sorry about that. We're still talking about how prey can deal with predators. And there is one thing, the first one is going to be called Mullerian Mimicry. If I was to point at a bug, we'll just say a bug, and some kind of a bug, it's a flying bug, and it is yellow and black striped. And I'd say, why don't you pick that up for me? You'd say, I'm not picking that thing up. That's what? It's a bee, and it will sting me, right? Well, it usually is, but not always. Sometimes that yellow and black thing no. You say, it's a bee and it will sting me. In Mullerian mimicry, it doesn't matter if you're talking about a yellow jacket or some wasp. They have characteristic colors, right? They have characteristic colors that says, don't mess with me. I am dangerous. So all of these dangerous species kind of look alike. I said, see that yellow and black one? It might be a yellow jacket. It might be even a honeybee. It can sting you as well. Or it could be one of these wasps that has that same yellow and black coloring. Or it could be a snake, and oftentimes sort of red. So red is another color. You don't want to pick them up, right? Red and yellow, don't touch that, because this is a way where dangerous species can advertise, I'm bad, don't mess with me. It's called Mullerian mimicry. They all look a little bit alike so that they all benefit from the time when one of them got picked up and the person learned their lesson and the predator learned its lesson. All right, I keep getting ahead of myself today. I'm sorry. There's another kind of mimicry. That was Mullerian mimicry, where poisonous things look alike and they advertise, I'm dangerous. Mullerian. Now, what I started to say earlier, getting ahead of myself, was something called Batesian mimicry. It's mimicry, but it's Batesian mimicry. With Batesian mimicry, it's where a harmless something looks like the poisonous one. So I'm going to show you, everyone knows what a bee is. You see the one on the top there, you say, yeah, of course, that's dangerous. It's a yellow jacket. Look at this. That's not dangerous. That's a harmless bug, but he looks dangerous. And because he looks dangerous, predators will avoid him. That is Batesian mimicry. I mentioned snakes. I had said, yeah, red and yellow and black, these are colors that are used as a mimic. And so if you see this one right here, you see this right here, the yellow, black, yellow, red and yellow together, that's dangerous. That would be a coral snake. It would be a deadly snake. It can kill you. But what about this one? Red, black, yellow, black, red. Oh, that is a harmless Batesian mimic. It's not dangerous. It's only dangerous if you see the red and yellow together. What about this? You see the color pattern on this man's face? Red and yellow. That is a deadly coral snake. Yeah, he's a nut. He's a crazy man, but it ends up coral snakes, they're always small. They're very small. We don't have them here. They have them in like Texas and Florida. Don't ever, red and yellow kill a fella. That's the saying. It's the most deadly snake in America, but they have tiny fangs. So even though this guy's crazy to do this, chances are he's not going to die. I have to tell you a story. When I lived in Texas, there was a story about a jogger in Houston. And he was running along in a park in downtown Houston, and he sees red and yellow. He says, "Oh my gosh, that is a deadly coral snake. I must save the city." So what he said, how do you save the city? You say, okay, what I'll do is I'll go over to it, I'll put my foot on its head, get it behind the head, and I don't know what he's going to do with it, but he was going to catch it. So he does that. He goes over, he puts his foot on its head, he reaches down and picks it up. Oh no, he had it by the tail. The thing bites his hand. He says, "Oh my God, I've been bitten by," this is a true story, "I've been bitten by a coral snake. I know, I'll save the city so no one else gets bitten. So I'll put my foot on his head and I'll reach in and pick it up." And so he does that. He gets the tail again. He gets bitten a second time. At that point, he said, "Forget the snake, I'm going to the hospital." It's a true story. He survived. He ended up with, it's a neurotoxin. He ended up with nerve damage to his hand, but they have small fangs, so luckily it didn't kill him. So anyway, that's an example of, Mullerian mimicry. You better not mess with those guys. Okay. All right, so now, I'm sliding away. So now we can talk about interactions that are not negative in effect, where we say either two species, both of them benefit from interacting, or at the very worst, one is unaffected and the other one benefits from it. So anytime we have two species that interact in this way, we're going to call it a symbiosis. Now, a symbiosis is two or more species living together intimately with their fates linked together. And we can think of with their fates linked together. If we think of a lichen, you know what a lichen is? It's that crusty looking stuff that you'll see on the base of a tree or on a rock. It's sort of white. It doesn't even really look like it's alive. Well, it's a fungus with another species in it. It's either a blue-green algae or an algae. The fungus and the algae living together, and they can only survive by living together. This is what we call a mutualism. They can only survive